we can start whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, all right, let's do it. Hi Rachel, my name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Worthless. Read that again. Juxtaposition of your very soul. So first off, I'd like to say thank you very much for agreeing to be on this podcast. When I read your profile, I was actually it's the kind of story that I want to feature on my podcast. So what a perfect timing. So I'd like to give our listeners the introduction about yourself, and then we can deep dive into your story. So everybody, we have Rachel here. She is the published author of the Doughnut Diaries, professional speaker, and body love educator. Also a certified personal trainer and a certified health coach. Wow. In 2000, Rachel began her career as an ACE certified group fitness instructor, teaching a plethora of classes. Then she wanted to take her passion at the higher level and became an ACE certified health coach in 2018. So in 2020, Rachel wrote her first book, The Doughnut Diaries, about her own struggles with her weight and restrictive diets, which lasted for over 30 years. So Rachel turned 40. The expression, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired, hit home, and she made a decision to take her power back. So now she's using her book to help people who have had or still experiencing this thing. So yes, Rachel, what was it like growing up as Rachel Lavin?
That we're gonna start off deep, huh? Well, Nicolette, thank you so much
I
for having. I really appreciate it because we're on two different time zones here, so that is pretty amazing that we made this work. Um, well, I remember at a very young age, fifth grade, as a matter of fact, being so aware of my body. And it was something that I didn't understand or know how to deal with. And I just didn't have a lot of good role models growing up when it came to positive body image. And I just grew up feeling like I was not born in the right body, which is really sad because I was, I am. And now at 50, almost 2 years old, I finally appreciate my body for what it can do and be grateful for that instead of feeling betrayed by my body because I wasn't the size that I thought I should be or that society told me I should be. And I really am hoping that with my work and with my own experience that I can help women all over the world understand that it's a battle that we have learned and we've been taught, and it's something that you can free yourself from.
yes. So let's go back to the reason why did you write the book?
Well, I wanted to share my experience, and I really didn't know how to get my message across, and people have been telling me for years that I should write a book. And I was really, even though it sounded like a great idea, I always was afraid to because I didn't
Never started
have,
it.
well, not just that, but I had told myself I could never write a book because I don't know where punctuation goes. I have no idea how to edit a book, and as you get on through the journey, you realize there's people out there that you can hire to do all that fun stuff for you. You just have to write your story. And I
Yeah.
love that because it gave me the freedom to do it. And with my book, I'm really hoping to inspire other women.
So, tell us, Rachel, like you said in your introduction that I read earlier, 30 years of struggles. Wow, that's a long time. Like how what was the story from the start and then the pivotal moment that changed your narrative into what you believe today?
Well, I think what I mentioned earlier, as early as 11, I can remember just feeling that I was different and feeling like my body was so different than other young girls. And as I got older, just seemed that it was always being reiterated to me that I could do this to improve my body. I need to be on this diet. I shouldn't eat those foods. And
Right.
more just became ingrained into my soul that I had to think about this every single day.
Mm.
And I grew up just not really having the best dietary practices. Like a lot of my foods were microwavable or instant. And so going out into the world as an adult woman, I just didn't really have that background that I needed to properly nourish myself. I always felt like exercise was the key to happiness, right? You had to exercise your body to get this small, and you had to eat the least amount of food to get this small. And the things that we do to our body as we're growing up as women is just so horrible. But
Yeah.
when I turned 40 years old, believe it or not, I was living in New York City. I had finally got, and I'm using air quotes for those who can't see me, the perfect body. I had gotten myself down to a size 0.
Ooh.
I
Wow.
Yeah, I thought
Zero.
I was literally, well, let's not get too excited. I literally lasted at that size for maybe 5 weeks. But I had finally thought that I had that perfect body. And when I, kind of sat with myself, I realized that wasn't the answer and I still wasn't happy. So I decided that enough was enough. Like you read in my bio, I'm 40 years old. I'm not going to spend the next 40 years feeling this way about my body, struggling to stay small. And now that I am small, the things I have to do to my body to stay this size,
To
I'm just
maintain. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna do it. So I decided that it was more important to get to know myself, get to know why do I feel this way about my body, and start
Right.
healing that trauma. Because there's no way that I could be, now I'm 51, almost 52, in the place that I'm at for, almost a decade, feeling good about myself, feeling happy in the body, no matter what it is, and taking care of my body the best I can if I didn't heal from those past traumas.
Did you go to therapy? Like, what were your steps to crawl yourself out from this hole,
Well, I had
from
been
this
in therapy
abyss?
at some point my whole life, so it wasn't like a new thing because of this, but yes, at the time I had a lovely therapist. I decided to do some journaling, I read some beautiful books. And I really just I taught myself how to be alone. I didn't
Oh,
understand.
that's very strong and powerful. Yeah.
Yes, I did not realize that I did not know how to be alone with myself. And so
Mm.
living in New York City at the time was the best place to do that. I took myself on dates. I did things I wanted to do. And I didn't even bother asking other people to come with me because I wanted to understand and get comfortable with being by myself. And I think that was such a valuable lesson for me because it really has taught me to not overreact about things, to not really
Oh,
reach,
yeah.
not to keep reaching to other people for a solution to something that's going
Validation
on with
or,
me. Yes, all
yeah.
those things. So learning how to be in your own company, I think, is probably the most valuable lesson that I learned throughout this whole journey.
I think I want to relate back to my own experience as well because I don't know if you've heard any of my podcasts. I have been in my in I think my struggle was I couldn't be by myself because I was in long relationships all through my 20s. And then when I got through my divorce, it was like the first time I've been single after, I don't know, 10 years. I mean, before that it was school, so no boyfriends, and then after that, relationship, 10 years.
Mm.
So in 2020, COVID, that forced me to sit by myself. I had to face number one, the grief of that divorce, because I got divorced in 2019, and then I tried to throw myself into work, like this is gonna be my solution, my savior. I don't need to deal with this. I don't need love right now. But then COVID happened. I just had to sit by myself and then just think about, whoa, what's happening? Like that's when I really had to learn the lesson the hard way, that mm, being alone is the most I think profound thing you can do for yourself, because it lets you understand so much about yourself. That because when you have somebody with you, you tend to be swayed, or you get influenced by their decision making, or the way their perception, how the perception works, and yeah, etc. So I think I could really relate to your story so much on that capacity. So Rachel, yeah, I wanted to get your thoughts on the stigma for today's world, where people are constantly needing to look good in order to impress other people. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that it's presented to us in a different way, right? It's social media now, as opposed to when I was growing up, it was just magazines and TV. But I don't think that it's any different. It's just delivered to you differently. I think we've
Right.
had these stigmas and the pressures and the overwhelming, sense that it's everywhere, that you have to be this if you're a woman, you have to be that if you're a man. And now that we have so many other gender fluid things happening in our world, I can't imagine, do they feel the pressure from both sides? Like, I can't even imagine. So I think that for me, what I'm starting to realize, the more that I do this work, I don't have a science background. I'm not trying to back up my information with science. I'm trying to tell you from an emotional place. You have
Yeah,
suffered
that's right.
with
Yeah.
this thing about your body for too long. And the only way that you're going to break free of it is to have your own mind, your own thoughts, and to deal with your trauma that you've had in the past. And that's the only way. And I'm proof that that happens. And there's other people in the world that are proof that you can be whatever you want to be and be happy doing that. And
Yeah.
so I think that for me, it's like people kind of look at me like I'm wacky or something, because
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
we have made something so simple so hard, so hard.
That's so true. Yeah.
And all the lies that we've been taught about our body and the diets and how you have to look and the labels and how you have to present yourself regardless of what sex or orientation you are is just, it's old news. And I would love to bring a new message into the world.
Beautiful. I think what you're doing is really great. I think a lot more people, they need to hear this out. I don't think we're the only ones talking about it, because my podcast talks a lot about self-worthiness as well. It is something that's important, but it's just not being heard enough, or maybe people are aware, but they just choose not to heed to it. So yeah, I guess what you're doing through your book and my podcast, let's get the message out there.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so okay, next question. This is a very uh rhetorical question, but I guess it's a good one. In your opinion, which age generation is prone to have negative self-talk and negative self-image, which will, inadvertently lead to the perception of low self-worth?
I mean, I deal with women as young as little girls to women in their 80s, and they're all,
Really?
yes, they're all
Little
affected by it.
girls?
Yes.
Why? May I know
Because
why?
yeah, and I'm not a mother, but I don't want to I'm not trying to attack moms, but
Right.
if you are not aware of how you talk to yourself
Mm-hmm.
about yourself in front of your children, and you don't think that they take that in, you're wrong and you're mistaken. And I see it every day, how moms are always like, oh, I got to get this weight off, or I got to do this in front of their daughter,
Right.
and their daughters are listening. And
Yeah.
I know for me that I heard the women in my life talk like that. And so, of course, it sunk in. Of course, it affected me. Of course, it made me think before I ate something or before I did something, oh, how is that going to make me look? You know? So it really is a learned experience from your own from the women in your life. I don't want to just blame mothers, but ladies, you have to start thinking about how you're talking about yourself in front of your daughter, because she is hearing you and it is affecting her.
Right. That brings me to the next. I just had a thought. So, what do you think the how do men what role do they play supporting
Men,
this men? Yes.
as far as women are concerned, or
Mm-hmm.
themselves?
Women are concerned. Yes.
Well, let's just get started by saying, men, if you are talking in any way, shape, or form negatively to the women in your life, like, stop that now. Someone
Mm.
else's body and how their body looks is none of your business. So if you're tearing down the women in your life because you perceive that they should look a certain way, that is cruel and that's abusive. So
Yes.
if you are questioning, again, how you're speaking to your daughters, teach them, lift them up. Teach them that they're beautiful no matter what. Teach them that it's important to take care of their bodies, absolutely. But if you see that your daughter has a different build than somebody else, don't pick that apart, and
Fortunate. Yeah.
don't make it obvious. Support her, love her, teach her how to love her own body.
Thank you. Okay, so what was the one thing you would tell your younger self?
I get asked this question a lot, and I have a few and I have a few answers, but today I'm going to give you this one. If I
Okay.
could tell my little girl anything in the world, I would tell her that you are enough. Everything that you think that you're not, you already are.
Yeah, oftentimes people, I think most of the self-worth questions or issues normally will surround around the question of, am I worthy enough? Am I lovable enough? Am I enough as a whole? And I think you nailed it down. Um, Not many people. It's a very it has so many layers to it, but people don't think of it as important to figure that out. Maybe they can figure it out within this lifetime, or maybe not. You know, so I mean that's just my thought.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, so I think we did touch about this earlier. How do you accept your body today and every
Oh
day?
yeah, I did forget to answer that. So sorry.
I don't know.
Well, it has been over time that I've learned how to accept my body, but I also kind of let go of the idea that my body has to look the same throughout every year of my life. I'm getting older. I'm starting menopause. Like, my body is going to change.
Yeah.
And instead of getting, again, angry at it and feeling betrayed by it, it's like, let's feel the joy that I have been able to experience this life and everything that my body has withstood, and it's
Hmm.
still taking care of me. Like, that is amazing. So I do my best to look at my body every day as a gift. Now, because I felt so negatively about my body for so long, do those thoughts creep in? Sure, they do. Of course, they do. I'd be lying if I said that there weren't some times where I look in the mirror and that initial reaction of disgust happens. But I know how to deal with that now. And I know how to tell myself and self soothe myself, it's just a moment. You're having a moment. You're still beautiful. You're still capable. You're still strong, and your body moves all on its own. So be grateful
Yeah.
for that, you know?
Yeah.
And so I am happy that I've learned how to talk to myself now, because before it was always just from morning till the moment I fell asleep. You're fat, you're ugly, you're unlovable, you're all the things. All the things that I'm sure we all have said to our bodies and to ourselves. And the beauty that I get to have a whole entire day, a whole entire week or month that those thoughts don't even happen to me anymore, that is for me the true freedom.
Yeah. Freedom of freedom of the mind, and just really stepping into your own self, your true self.
Yes.
Beautiful. So, okay, again, this is maybe another question that is rhetorical, but do you believe that anyone can love their body?
I do. I do believe that 100% with all my heart, but it has to be a conscious effort on that individual's part. It's not a light switch. I wish it was. I wish it was, but it's something that you're going to have to be conscious about. You're going to have to make the decision. I want to feel this way. And then whatever the roadblocks are that keep you from feeling that way, you got to deal with them and then move them out of the way. You cannot have this idea that you want to love your body and love your whole self, and then you still talk horribly to yourself, or you let somebody else talk horribly to you. It's those two things don't intersect.
So, yeah, now you did touch about people saying not so nice things to you. So, how do you deflect that? What would you do if somebody were to come to you and say those things now that you're in this new mindset, new frame of thinking? Like
I have
we
two
have people,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
two things that I tell people who, and it really does work, because people in my life, my mother especially, used to feel very comfortable just telling me how she felt about my body all the time. And so I tell people two things, and I empower women to say it out loud every day until it sits with them. But one, my body is none of your business. And then two, my body is not up for discussion. So if you've got somebody in your life, like let's just say the holidays are coming up, and
Yeah.
Uncle Pete, are you going to eat all that?
Oh,
Wow, you've got a lot of food on your plate. Hey, what I'm eating is none of your business. And you don't have to be mean. You don't have to get angry. You don't have to let it ruin your day. Just set a boundary. Like, hey,
right.
you can worry about what you're eating all day, every day, but this is none of your business what's happening right here in front of me. Be comfortable telling people that your body and your food intake and the things that you do for yourself, it's just none of their business.
Powerful. But easier said than done.
It
But once done,
in the beginning,
powerful. Yeah. Yeah.
but once you get comfortable and you believe that, you can
Oh,
just tell
yes.
someone, and
Yeah.
it's done. The conversation is done. That's all you got to say. And I would, if you do have a family dynamic like that, especially around the holidays, it's only October. Start practicing.
Yeah, we got 2 more months there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I want to go back to your book, Doughnut Diaries. So could you like give us the skeleton of it, and maybe afterwards the
Of
key
course.
takeaways from your book. Yeah.
I use the platform. It's a very small book. It's 5 chapters to describe what I went through with food, with my thoughts, with exercise, and then how I chose to take my power back, like you so eloquently said in my bio. And then the final chapter is me sharing my words of encouragement to my reader. Like that at the end of my book is your takeaway. You can do this too. You can be free. You can be happy. You can be all the things. You're not alone. That is my absolute number one takeaway in my book, is that you are not alone. Because I think so many of us feel that way, especially if we have this nonstop, incessant chatter about our bodies. So I describe my relationship with food, my relationship with people, my relationship with exercise, and how I really, really am so grateful that I can be free of all that and happy and, still take care of my body. I still exercise, I still eat well, but I don't do it because I'm trying to stay small. I do it to stay alive.
Okay. So, yeah, you were saying you didn't have support system, but have you had support system then? Would it be different, the outcome? Like would
I mean, unfortunately, that's a question I can't answer because I don't know. I can only draw from the experience that I did have. But what I do believe about your question is that if we are teaching our younger generation to
mm,
to be to uplift and to support them and to teach them how to love their bodies, I do believe that the outcome can be very different. Yes.
right. So what do you think, like the women these days, if they don't have that kind of support, they should go out and seek it, the right support, I mean, given it's the right support, or they should just go inwards and then deal with it themselves? Like, what are the avenues?
I think there are many avenues because I think a lot of women are not even aware that they are doing
Mm,
this to themselves. So you have
mm,
to be aware. You have to be aware, right? Secondly, I'm hoping that with my message that I'm getting out there, it does start to wake people up and it does start to bring an awareness that you're living your life oblivious, that you're literally torturing yourself and abusing yourself. And then, of course, passing it on to your children. I think if you are aware that you've felt this way about yourself for a long time, making that change can be difficult, but making that commitment to yourself to change is one of the first steps. I believe that, really, I do. So I think there's many avenues that you can take towards loving yourself. It's not just about body positivity. That to me means nothing. If you're body positive, explain that to me. What does that mean? But if you say, I love myself, I love my
oh
body,
yeah, I love
that
myself.
to
Yeah,
me
yeah.
is, I get it. I hear you. I totally understand where you're coming from. But I'm body positive. Like, okay, great.
Hang on. Yeah, let's debunk this whole hashtag body positivity. Like, I mean, we don't get. I'm from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. We hear that term being thrown around here and there, but what does it actually mean?
I think what they are trying to say is what I'm saying. You should love your body at every size. I
Right,
I get that. I do get it.
right.
But when you deliver a message and you're asking me, what are some of the tools? What are some of the things you did? If you don't have that information to say or to deliver or to pass on, then it's just a hashtag, right? It's just a hashtag. And that's why I choose for me and my business that I don't use body positivity, because it's just another label that is in vogue for the moment, and then it's going to go away like it did last time. And I'm really, excuse me, doing my best to not let it go away this time.
Okay. Few more questions on something that will touch the essence of my podcast. So, do you have any advice for individuals who struggle with comparing themselves to others and feeling inadequate as a result?
I think it's important to ask yourself, how are you feeling about all the energy that you're putting into the feelings that you feel currently? And
Mm,
if your answer is, I'm really exhausted, then you're ready to maybe change your mindset. I I mentioned earlier in your podcast that we as human beings make life so hard. We really do. And it is so
terribly.
simple. It is so simple. And I'll give you the best example of that. When you are tired, do you have to tell your body to go to sleep? No, your eyes shut and you drift off into sleep. When you're hungry, your stomach growls. Your body is telling you, I need food. When you have to go to the bathroom, you're like, I've got to go pee. So your body is so smart. It's our minds that really mess us up. And if you can start to
Mm,
differentiate I'm having a thought versus thinking. And there are some
Ooh,
self-proclaimed overthinkers out there. And I want to say to them, you are making, and I used to be one of them, so I'm not judging you in any way, but all I'm telling you is that you are in control, even if it doesn't feel like you are. You can tell your brain, I'm not going to go on this tangent with you. I'm not going to argue with you. Like, I had a thought, let it go. Let's have the next thought. Let's enjoy life. And I think that if you can really sit there and get honest with yourself, and if your lifestyle currently is forbidding you from enjoying your life because you're only here for a short amount of time, and I know people say that all the time, but it's true.
it's
We're
true.
here,
I
we're
believe
here
that, yeah.
from 0 years to 100 years.
Yeah,
And it goes by in a blink of an eye. So why are you torturing yourself because you can't lose that last 5 pounds? Or why are you torturing yourself because I wish I was taller? Or I wish I had blonde hair? You know, there are so many things that you are wasting your time and energy wishing upon when life is a gift, and let's start looking at it like that.
where? How can this? Okay, so how can listeners build a support network or seek professional help if needed in their pursuit of self-worthiness and personal growth?
I think there are so many avenues for people right now. There's virtual, online therapy. There's women's groups all over the world. And there are, when you start to realize that your friends, the people in your circle, are very like-minded, you're having these lovely conversations, and you always leave the interaction feeling, enthused and full of
Uplifted,
energy
yeah.
and uplifted. Or do you walk away from these people going, oh my God, I never want to,
Drain.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to start paying attention to who you're choosing to spend time with. But there are so many ways to get support these days, so many ways. Like I mentioned, women's groups, there's online therapy, there's in-person therapy. And, stigmatism against therapy, I think it's going away. I mean, I hear so many more people talking
Yeah.
about it now. So I think
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
What is your heart's greatest wish?
Oh, God. And I mean, yes, I really want women, but I want every person in the entire world to feel comfortable and safe in their own body.
Powerful. Do you have a mantra that you live by?
Yes, I am eternally and always grateful and thankful for the life I have.
Okay, two more questions. What gets you up? What gets you up in the morning, Rachel?
The fact that I get to do what I do, and that is talk to amazing women like you who are helping me get my
Thank you.
message out. So I do appreciate that. But I love my life. I love my boyfriend. I love where I live. I love it all. So I do wake up, and again, I know some people are like, "Oh my God, she can't be this happy all the time."
Yeah.
I'm,
Yes, yes. It's
and
like,
honestly,
what?
like I have my days. Of course I
Of
do. I
course.
have my moments. I have my days. I have my life challenges. But knowing where I came from and knowing where I am, I know that if I look at it with a grateful heart, that I will get through it a lot easier.
So, okay, thank you. So, do you have trouble sleeping? What keeps you up at night? Or do you sleep well?
90% of the time I sleep very well. There are
Okay.
mornings where I wake up at 4 in the morning, just like bing, ready for the day. And sometimes
Oh, really?
yeah, and some days I wake up at like 7:30 and wish I could stay in bed. But, I do my best to stay on a schedule. I know myself. I do my best on 7 to 8 hours a day. And so I do my best to get there.
Beautiful. Okay, last one. Rachel, if you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
Oh man, can I steal it from somebody else?
Sure, sure.
Because there is a quote that I love so much, and it has literally brought me to tears many times because it's so beautiful. And
really?
I got this quote from Jane Fonda, and it says, "We are
Ooh,
not meant to be perfect, we're meant to be whole." And I just love that so much.
we are not meant to be perfect. We are meant to be whole. Oh, that's deep. Whole means everything, the good,
Yeah.
the bad, well, the perfections, the imperfections,
Yeah.
the flaws. Wow. Hashtag deep. If only people could read into that.
I use that quote in my book because I love it so much.
Really. How can we get a copy of your book?
You can get it by going onto Amazon, and
Right.
but my website, I have buttons all over the place, link to Amazon, link to Amazon. So if you go to my
Okay.
website,
Right.
RachelLavinWellness.com, it's there
Right.
too.
Okay. Perfect. Do you have audiobook?
I don't have that yet, but I will look into it.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for considering. Well, I think we covered the session today, Rachel. Thank you so much for your wonderful sharing and your candidness. I think people need to just understand, like, sometimes we from externally people see, like, oh, why these people are so just passionate, like they don't see content to it, like, like, what are they trying to get their message across. But I think in essence, if only they could just listen, take away the first layer, the noise, and then stop using this, start using this, and
Mhm.
then there'll be it's gonna come to them. Their sense is gonna come to them.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
we can
that's
hope.
nice. Yeah.
Fingers crossed,
Oh,
everybody.
yeah. Well, thank you, Rachel, for your time. You have a good day, and I speak to you again soon. I followed you on Instagram. Um,
Okay,
when
cool.
when this episode air, I will cut some snippets and I will tag you, so you can
Love
also
it.
share that across.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you, Rachel.
sleep well. Sleep well. I know it's late for you.
It's okay. Thank you so much, Rachel. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.